Hello and welcome back to Jenna Gets Creative. Today I will be demonstrating gradient techniques with colored pencil, and we will be walking through it as a tutorial. We're using PrismaColor pencils on Canson XL Mix Media paper. Really, any pencils and paper will do. That's what I have, and that's what I find works really well for these techniques without any sort of underpainting. So to start off, I'm doing a simple value gradient with the black, the white, and the 70, 50, and 30% cool gray shades. I'm not going to work this one a whole lot, so you will still be able to see a little bit where each color was placed to begin with, but you get the idea of where I'm going with this demonstration from this gradient. Just going over the transitional areas between two colors with both colors does really help to blend it. In the second gradient, I'm going to work it all the way to flattening the paper. That's known as burnishing. And I'm going to blend true green on the left into true blue on the right. And I am using a turquoise steely kind of color called aqua as my transition tone in the middle. Don't be fooled by how fast this is going. It has been sped up quite a lot. This did take about half an hour in real time just for this gradient box. Do be careful not to burnish your paper too early on in the process. Burnishing is when you apply enough pressure to the paper that it flattens the tooth of the paper. That will help to get rid of the visual appearance of the paper's tooth, but it prevents the paper from being able to take more layers. So you don't want to do it when you don't have the area completely filled or completely blended and transitioned in a way that you're happy with. Now that the blending is pretty good, I am starting to burnish at the edges and in the very center, and I will continue to work it back and forth a little bit more before I burnish the whole thing. On this gradient strip, I will not be using a colorless blender. I am just burnishing to get that finished look. With waxed-based pencils like this, you will start to notice a wax bloom, and it will look like you can see every individual stroke when you tilt the paper and the light catches it in certain ways. You can smooth that out, as I'm doing here, by gently rubbing it with tissue paper, paper towel, toilet paper, anything like that. Now we're moving on to a sphere. You'll notice that I'm starting with my lightest shade and I am covering the entire sphere. I will then go over with my progressively darker shades in less and less areas of the sphere, leaving the highlights. And then I will reverse the process, blending the darker bits back out with the previous lighter shade. By the way, if you haven't already, please do subscribe to this channel. I do put out videos every Tuesday and Wednesday, and sometimes there's a third bonus video, normally Friday. They are all art videos, and so if you like this, you'll like everything else. I promise. Here we're going in with that colorless blender to burnish and just add a finishing touch to the blend. Since I don't want to contaminate the lighter areas with darker pigment, I am starting in the highlight spot and moving outwards. If I did it in reverse, I might end up with visible strokes of darker pigment being moved into the lighter area. But if I move the highlighted area outward and expand it, you're not really going to notice. And last but not least, we are going to render this pretty red bow. I'm starting out with my palest shade, which is a pink, not a red, because that's what color the highlight is going to look like. In fact, only my darkest two shades, the carmine and crimson, are truly red. I have two pinks and a magenta, which some people call pink and some people call a purple. Again, as I did with the sphere, for each progressively darker shade, I am covering less and less area of the bow. If you're not sure where your highlight should go or how big it should be, err on the side of having too much area highlighted, because you can always go and darken it and expand your darker areas, but picking up colored pencil, especially after you've applied a lot of layers, is very difficult, and after you've burnished it, it's all but impossible. I'm curious to know, if you're watching this video, how you found me. So if you'd like to let me in on the secret, please do comment down below. Tell me how you got to this video, and yeah, I'm really curious, because I know a lot of people are following links that I post, but sometimes I have other people helping me out and posting in different areas, and I'd really like to know where that traffic's coming from. Of course, I'd also love to hear that you're here because you're a subscriber and you got a notification. That'd be cool. And there's that magenta pencil that was being used as the third color. Near the end, I'm not going to use it as much when I'm blending. Do notice that with every darker shade, I am going through all of the lighter shades before it and really keeping that transition area to the highlights really smoothly blended. If you're new here, please do hit the subscribe button and join the channel. I put out art videos every Tuesday. Thursdays are, sometimes there are tutorials just like this one, sometimes they're a review of art products, and sometimes they're crafting videos, which are also interesting. And occasionally I'll put out a third bonus video. Usually that's Friday, but not always. Usually if it's not Friday, it's because it was a collaboration or a contest ending. I do contests, by the way, did you know that? So here we go, I'm working with that final darkest red, and if you pay close attention, I'm not really using that magenta as I'm going through and touching up the blends anymore. I don't want any purple quality in here now that we're getting to the end and I am burnishing. So very rarely using that magenta. Sorry, just about called it purple. As I've been mentioning in my videos recently, I do really want to start sharing other artists' artwork in my end cards. I always think it's really neat when other artists do that on YouTube. Just shows a bit of community and gives a little exposure to everybody else. So if you would like to follow me on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter, go ahead and do that, and then use the hashtag LookJennaYT, and I will see your artwork, and I will start sharing that in my end cards. And there we go, isn't that bow pretty? I think it's got some beautiful highlights, some nice shadows, and it's starting to almost look real, isn't it? Obviously with these dark black outlines and no other underpainting type work, I wasn't going for realistic. It's kind of cartoony, but it's worlds different from that first gray tonal range gradient, isn't it? I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope to see you back here on Tuesday with an art video. Thanks, guys. Bye.